No more joking around. Welcome to Statesboro, where we have the Sun Belt Conference opener on tap for you tonight, and this is a strong brew. Georgia Southern is trying to fill up Paulson Stadium to produce that famous home field advantage because they're going to need it against the 3-1 red-hot Ragin' Cajuns. You're watching the Sun Belt Conference on ESPN. Well, tonight is going to be so much fun. It's great to have you with us alongside Danny Waugh. I'm Greg Talbot, and I don't care what anybody else says. This is the best game of the day in the Sun Belt Conference, Danny, because of the power struggle that we are about to see. Louisiana leads the nation in rushing yards, and Georgia Southern has one of the best rushing defenses outside of the Power Five.
That's right, Greg. Normally, Georgia Southern's defense does a great job stopping the running game against Sun Belt Conference opponents, but Louisiana is a different breed. They have 18 rushing touchdowns on the year. They average over 7.5 yards per carry, led by Trey Regis. This is going to be a difficult task for Georgia Southern if they want to get their first conference win this season.
Yeah, both of these teams nearly knocked off Power 5 teams in the opening weeks of the year. Georgia Southern came 15 seconds away from knocking off Minnesota 2 weeks ago, and in Week 1, Louisiana nearly beat Mississippi State. So this smells like a big one. Kickoff is coming up in just a few minutes on ESPN+. Back for kickoff today on ESPN+, and would you look at this crowd in Paulson Stadium. All week long they were giving away tickets, trying to get people to come out for this game. Last time they had 20,000 in the seats was 3 years ago in 2016 against ULM. They are trying to break that today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Sun Belt standings. Danny, it is the first day of Sun Belt Conference play.
That's right, and already in the preseason, Louisiana was picked to finish atop the Western Division. They finished and won the Western Division last season, went to the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. Louisiana looking to repeat that. Georgia Southern in the tough Eastern Division looking to get their first Sun Belt Conference win this evening.
First time in a couple of years that Louisiana has been here. This time they're led by Billy Napier in his second season. He came over from Arizona State where he'd been the O coordinator, and before that spent years at Alabama coaching the receivers, helped them win a couple championships over there. And as for Georgia Southern, on the other side, that's Chad Lunsford. He led the effort to pack Paulson this week, Danny. He bought tickets to give away to out-of-town fans if they offered to come back to the game.
Yeah, you look at these two young coaches for these programs, for Georgia Southern and Louisiana, on the right path, especially after last season. The Eagles went 10-3, Louisiana went 7-7, but both went to bowl games in Louisiana, going to the Sun Belt Conference Championship.
This is the most highly anticipated game of the day in the Sun Belt Conference. There's preseason all-conference kicker Tyler Bass to get us started for Georgia Southern. Eagles coming into this game at 1-2 after losses to an SEC team in LSU and a Big Ten team last week, rather 2 weeks ago, last game against Minnesota. Louisiana off to a 3-1 red-hot start. Raymond Calais back to receive for the Cajuns in the end zone. He's going to let that one bounce, and they will take it at the 25-yard line. Well, like we said at the top of the broadcast, Danny, this Cajuns offense is arguably the best rushing offense in America. They have been sensational in their first 4 games.
Yeah, they have been explosive. That 3-man running back group with Trey Regis, Elijah Mitchell, and Raymond Calais, it's going to be tough to stop them because they do great getting past their offensive linemen.
And there's their quarterback, Levi Lewis, a first-year starter. He's a lefty and an in-state kid from Baton Rouge. He's been great so far, 65%, 9 touchdowns, and just 2 picks in the first 4 games. On first down, they'll give to their main running back, Trey Regis. He dives ahead for a gain of 7 or 8 yards. Their leading rusher on the year. He is enemy number 1 of that 3-man attack, over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns already.
Yeah, he's going to be a tough guy to stop here. And right off the bat, Louisiana going for a pass.
Yeah, he uncorks one into coverage. There's only one man back there on defense, and that's hauled in by Gerard Jackson down inside the 15-yard line. That was blown coverage or something.
Yeah, also known as Bam Jackson on the team. And we talked about this running game for Louisiana, but you got to remember, their passing game is pretty lethal as well. They've thrown for over 240 yards in each game these first 4 games this season.
This is just the first look at one of the best offenses in the country, as that's a keeper from Lewis down inside the 15-yard line and chased out of bounds by Monquavian Brinson.
A good block by Nick Ralston as well for Lewis to get out of bounds. And this is a dual-threat quarterback in Lewis. He has 7 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns on the year, attributing to the touchdown total on the ground for Louisiana.
And even though he is smaller and can move, he really is at his best in the pocket. He's very accurate when he gets a few seconds. All right, 2nd down and 6. That's Elijah Mitchell in the backfield, and they'll give to him. He bounces up the middle, down inside the 5-yard line, and picks up a new first down.
Mitchell coming off of a great performance against Ohio, 17 carries, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was named Sun Belt Conference Offensive Player of the Week for those efforts against Ohio.
On 1st and goal, they'll go back to him. And that is the 4th straight game where Mitchell has a touchdown, and the Cajuns strike in less than 1 minute and 20 seconds. Okay, everybody caught up. I feel like that was a crazy fast first drive, and all of a sudden, Louisiana showing us immediately why that offense is so fierce.
All it took was 5 plays, and that deep ball to Jackson really helped move the offense here in the opening drive.
Stevie Arteagan to kick this one away. Louisiana up 7-0 on the PAT. All right, Danny, that didn't take long, and if you're Georgia Southern's defensive coordinator, Scott Sloan, you got to be kind of back on your heels, confused about how that all just happened.
Well, when we talked to the Eagle coaches here this week leading up to this game, it was intended that the defense needed to stop this tough Louisiana offense early unless it was going to be a shootout. And we're already seeing Louisiana scoring in the opening minutes. You got to remember, Louisiana enters this game averaging 46 points per contest.
Yeah, this Cajuns offense, let's go ahead and give you by the numbers. Entering this weekend, they led college football in rushing yards with over 1,300. They led the nation in rushing touchdowns with 18. They were number 2 in college football in yards per carry, number 3 in rushing yards per game on average, and as you would expect, the number 1 offense in the Sun Belt Conference. That first drive looked somehow even better than we expected.
Yeah, that definitely set the tone and may have sucked some of the air out of Paulson Stadium. We're going to have to see how Georgia Southern responds and answers back here.
Back to receive for Georgia Southern here, Monquavian Brinson and Jay Bowdry from inside the 5. And they're going to need a really quick response, but it's not going to come on the kick return. They will take it from the 25-yard line. And although some of the momentum has been taken out of Paulson Stadium here, Danny, we are going to get a chance to get a little bit back on that for the Georgia Southern fans, because as we saw in the pregame, for the first time in a month, out comes Shai Wertz to quarterback this Eagles team. The last 14 months for him have been filled with adversity. Last summer, his family lost everything in a house fire. This summer, if you were following the news, he had to deal with a lot of nonsense that threatened to derail the season. And they come on first down. Turns and gives up the middle to Logan Wright. He's got a gain of 6 on the play. And then after all that over the last year, he comes into game 1 at LSU, gets injured in the first half and has to sit out a month. And yet, here he stands, bouncing back through all that adversity.
Yeah, suffered a shoulder injury against LSU, missed the home opener against Maine and the road game against Minnesota. They had an off week, so he's able to get 100% and ready for this game tonight.
All right, so here come the Eagles on 2nd down and 3. Shai Wertz quarterbacking this offense for the first time in a month. He's going to keep it on the option, and boy, does he look smooth running that. But the play doesn't quite go as expected. Dropped in the loss in the backfield there is Matt LaRoche.
So it's going to be interesting here, Greg, is seeing Louisiana's 3-man running game against Georgia Southern's 3-man running game. Logan Wright, Matt LaRoche, and J.D. King. For Louisiana, they're a little bit more experienced, but it'll be interesting to see how the Eagles will be able to move the ball down the field.
And if you're a Georgia Southern fan wondering about the other running back, Wesley Kennedy from Savannah, he still has to sit out 1 more week. He'll be back next time they come out against South Alabama next week. Third down and short. Colby Ransom goes in motion. They feed Logan Wright, and he's not going to get there. And if he did, it was just by half a yard. He dove forward to the 35, and this is going to be close. And they'll give it to him by a couple of inches, and the Eagles move the chains.
Going up against this Louisiana 3-4 defense, it's similar to what Georgia Southern goes up against in practice because their defense runs a 3-4.
This Louisiana team, you know their offense puts on a show. Their defense had a heck of a game at Ohio last week. 3 interceptions on defense. Eagles on 1st and 10. That's Malik Murray in motion. Takes the handoff and gets dropped back behind the 30-yard line. And there's that Cajun defense led in the backfield by Zion Hill.
Yeah, big tackle made by Hill. Hill, a preseason first-team All-Sun Belt Conference, or second team, I should say, on the defensive side.
Yeah, that was a missed block there as well by Cam Brown, the tight end on the outside. All right, so 2nd down and 13 after the loss. We might see Shy throw for the first time in a month here, too. That's right, in motion in the backfield. Only 3 down linemen, and Shy's going to keep. And go pretty much nowhere on that play. Gets back to maybe the original line of scrimmage. Setting up 3rd down and a long 10. And speaking of 3rd downs, I know it's a little bit different considering the really tough teams they've played here, Danny, but the Eagles have the worst 3rd down offense in the Sun Belt Conference, 17% this year.
Yeah, only 6 for 34 so far this year. And we asked offensive coordinator Bob DeBest about that. Surprisingly, Bob DeBest doesn't look at the stats. He just tries to keep things going and to make some adjustments and changes as the game rolls on.
5 wide for this option team. You don't see that very often. Linebacker blitz around the outside, and Shy's got to run for it. Can't quite get there. Although a flag's coming in, that might be a face mask or a horse collar along the outside.
More than likely a horse collar. Joe Dillon trying to take Shy down. As you see right here on the end of this run, first of all, good blitz on the far side by Andre Jones.
Number 3, 15-yard penalty.
They are going to say it is a horse collar on Dillon.
And Danny, I will say this too, Georgia Southern catches a break there because not only do they have the worst 3rd down offense in the conference, Cajuns happen to have the best 3rd down defense.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night for Georgia Southern to try to answer back to this tough Louisiana team.
So they get a second chance at life. Colby Ransom split to the top of your screen as the far side receiver. Malik Murray to the bottom. New 1st down, and for the first time tonight, they'll go to J.D. King. He bounces ahead for a gain of about 2 yards. And you know, Danny, we have seen so much good production at the start of the year from Logan Wright and Matt LaRoche. J.D. King, the Oklahoma State transfer, he's had a slower start. He's only about 3 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's had some trouble here in the start of the season, and you got to remember, they weren't expected to have him at the beginning of the year. It took until late August for him to get cleared to play this season.
J.D., a local kid, though, before he committed to Oklahoma State out of high school, played for Fitzgerald, one of the great AA teams in Georgia. King in motion on 2nd down, works the option. He'll pitch outside to LaRoche. And the defense there to gobble him up for a gain of 2 on the play. That was Farrod Gardner on the tackle.
Redshirt senior out of Dayton, Ohio. And you're seeing with this 3-4 defense and knowing that Georgia Southern is a predominant running team, they're loading 7-8 in the box, and it's making it hard for Georgia Southern to move the ball downfield on the ground.
Dayton, Ohio. He's a far away from home, huh?
Yeah. I think Chad Luxford's going to call a timeout to talk things over.
That is a Georgia Southern timeout with 8:47 to go here in the first. We're going to take the break with them here on ESPN+. Georgia Southern trying to respond with an early touchdown. Well, this is the 3rd time in series history that Georgia Southern and Louisiana have gotten together, but Danny, the home team has never won this game.
That's right. Louisiana won the first matchup in 2016 in Statesboro. Georgia Southern winning in Lafayette in 2017. What's interesting about the 2016 matchup, Greg, Seth Schumann, who was a former baseball player for Georgia Southern, was the backup quarterback at the time. Now the freshman threw for 200 yards in that game.
3rd down and 5. Southern the option. They'll pitch to the true freshman, Caleb Hood, and he's got a first down inside the 35-yard line. And Danny talked about a kid who has made an immediate impact. He's a true freshman out of McDonough. He's come in this year and become their leading receiver and sometimes a running back, as you see there, in just the first 3 games.
Well, with the absence of Wesley Kennedy in the first 4 games, Bob the Best, offensive coordinator for the Eagles, said that they were going to try and get Caleb Hood more involved. Hood and J.D. King to kind of have a 2-in-1 package while Kennedy's out here for the first 4 games.
So Georgia Southern with a couple 3rd down conversions on this opening drive. That's a welcome change of pace for Eagles fans. Are on the option on 1st down, and Shy gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Chris Moncrief on the tackle.
And that's the beauty of the 3-4 defense. You can have a linebacker line up like a lineman for a 4-man front. And on that play, Moncrief was able to break past the O-line and take Shy down. There were some changes made to the offensive line this week. Aaron Dowdell, the starting center here, is formerly Jacob Cooper for the first 3 games. Dowdell, formerly the starting left guard, but now Lawrence Edwards starting in that place.
On 2nd down and 13, they'll go the option again. Wirtz will keep down inside the 20, and a new first down for the redshirt junior out of Clinton, South Carolina. Offense so happy to have him back, Danny. He runs the option like we have not seen in years.
And that's the first big run for Shy Wirtz this season. Was able to break away from that tackle, able to hurdle a little bit over Eric Guerrer and get the first down.
Now, Shy, like we said, went down in the first half of game 1 for LSU this year, but last year he was phenomenal. Rushed for almost 1,000 yards, passed for almost 1,000 yards, 25 total touchdowns. He was one of the most explosive players in the Sun Belt Conference. On 1st down, they'll hand it off to Matt LaRoche, his 2nd carry. Taken down for maybe a gain of 1 on the play as the defense was there to greet him.
Well, that was a big-time run for Wirtz in that previous play because for a moment there, the Eagle offense was stale for a moment. They got lucky with the horse collar that was able to move the ball downfield this opening drive.
How important is it for them, after giving up a touchdown less than 2 minutes in, to respond with a touchdown on this drive?
It's very important because seeing how dominant the Louisiana offense is, you got to play catch-up or else it's going to be a blowout.
It's going to be a long night if the Southern defense doesn't have an answer on the other end. On 2nd and long, it's LaRoche again, 2nd straight play, and once again the linebackers and defensive line closes the door fast, bringing up 3rd down.
Being 3rd down and 7 at the 11-yard line, will be interesting to see if the Eagles continue to run or try to go for a short pass. This is where we can see Cam Brown get involved. A short pass at the tight end could possibly help.
Southern's first trip to the red zone tonight because this is their first drive. They've still been pretty good in the red zone this year. 11 touchdowns on 14 red zone trips. And again, that's pretty good considering 2 of the games were against Big Ten and SEC teams. On 3rd down, Wirtz on play action for Darian Anderson in the end zone. He overshot him. No flags. That'll bring up 4th down, and that's probably the bat signal for Tyler Bass.
Well, good coverage there from Louisiana on Anderson. Shy tried to throw it up to him. By the time it got down to him, it was at the corner on the back end of the end zone.
All right, so here's Tyler Bass, one of the best field goal kickers outside of the Power 5. Trying to put Southern on the board. No trouble there for Tyler, and all right, Danny, they didn't get the touchdown they wanted, but at least they're on the board.
That's the most important thing out of this opening drive because it would have been different if he didn't score there.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Back with Louisiana, back on offense after this. Well, Billy Napier has to be a happy camper. His Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns came out on their first drive and scored in 5 plays in less than a minute 30. Only gave up 3 points on the other end.
Yeah, Georgia Southern took them 14 plays to go all the way downfield. And, you may not be happy with getting a field goal instead of getting a touchdown, but you do have points on the board, and that's a step in the right direction, considering how quick this Louisiana offense can potentially score.
Bass puts that one in the air. Raymond Calais in the end zone. To the 25-yard line we go. Okay, we didn't have that much time to talk about how good the Louisiana offense looked because, like we said, they marched down the field and scored in 5 plays, less than a minute 30. They were going so far, so fast, we didn't even have time to break it down. So let's talk once again about the whole setup for this Cajuns team. They have 3 running backs who on pretty much any other team would all be the number 1 guy.
Yeah, and they also have a set of wide receivers that are very experienced and a quarterback that can throw the ball deep. We saw it in the first drive, went 51 yards downfield.
He will zip it out on the first play of the drive. That's Levi Lewis down to Jamal Bell. Dives forward for a gain of 4 or 5 yards, and he's just their number 2 receiver, but he had his breakout game of the year and really his career in week 1. 9 catches against Mississippi State.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the number 1 receiver, Jamarcus Bradley. They haven't gone to him yet, but best believe he'll get involved somewhere later on this drive in the first half as well.
And that's how diverse this offense is. On second down, they will feed Trey Regas up near midfield across the 45-yard line. Rather, that was Raymond Calais, my mistake. He's the speedster of the 3-headed monster at running back.
Yeah, and we talk about the running backs and the receiver, but you can't forget on the right side of the offensive line, the right guard, Kevin Dotson, and the right tackle, Robert Hunt. Preseason first-team All-Sun Belt Conference selections.
And they go back to Bell. They ring the bell for the second time this drive and a big first down toward the Southern 40.
And you saw right there how Levi Lewis had plenty of time in the pocket to get the ball downfield.
Yeah, Bell, that's now his 20th catch on the season, well over 200 yards. Still has not made a touchdown catch, though. I will say, based on the way this drive is going, we should probably look for him in the end zone in a little while.
Absolutely.
On first down again, Lewis looking to uncork one. Said he drops it off to the near side. That one falls incomplete. Pass intended that time for Khalif Cassette. And that was his first incomplete pass of the game.
And you're seeing now for Georgia Southern on defense, a 4-man front, knowing that Lewis can pass the ball, was dropping back, trying to defend those receivers.
And it looks to me like the Louisiana offense is making a concerted effort to pass more than normal to begin this game to spread the playbook. That run stopped for not much, though. There's that Southern defense as Calais is taken down for a loss.
And that's the beautiful part about having a balanced offense. You can catch any defense off guard whether you run multiple times and go for the pass or the other way around.
Well, the Cajuns 44% on third down this year. That's middle of the road in the Sun Belt. And that's the power of pulse and sound. Third down and 10. Lewis under pressure, back to his own 40. Uncorks one to the middle of the field. Good coverage by Monquavian Brinson, and that'll bring up fourth down.
Lewis was looking for Jamal Bell on that play, but great pressure by the defensive line for the Eagles.
Although
I'll
say, Danny, even though that ended up being an incomplete pass, Levi Lewis showed you how far he can extend a play by himself on that play.
Yeah, you got to remember, he's a dual threat quarterback. He was about to run it for a moment there, but got it down. The pass was a tad too high for Bell.
Reese Burns back to kick this from his own 45. Jesse Liptrot from inside the 10. And so they'll take it from about their own 8-yard line. We'll take a break here on ESPN+. Eagles got a field goal down in the red zone their last trip. We'll see if they can punch it in after this. Well, we may be biased as we think this is the most intriguing game of the day in the Sun Belt Conference, but Dan, we have a couple other good ones on tap too.
That's right. Coastal Carolina going to Boone to take on Appalachian State. Arkansas State versus Troy, South Alabama, and Louisiana Monroe. Texas State, the only team not with a conference matchup as they host Nicholls State.
So Southern takes over in the shadow of their own goalpost after a really good punt by Reese Burns from Louisiana. First play, good across the 10-yard line, that time from Logan Wright.
And this drive is a big drive for Georgia Southern. The defense did a great job stopping Louisiana after giving up that touchdown early in the first quarter. You can capitalize and jump ahead. The pressure can be moved to the Raging Cajuns now.
And if you're a Georgia Southern fan, you know that when Shy went down in week 1, the redshirt freshman backup Justin Tomlin looked okay for the last couple of games, but even just on that last drive, you saw the big play explosive possibility that Shy brings now that he's back at quarterback. And he picks up a first down.
He's able to break a tackle there, juking inside and getting the first down. And Tomlin did have some good moments for Georgia Southern filling in for Shy. He threw for 162 yards, ran for 2 touchdowns, almost 200 yards rushing as well.
And they certainly let him take some chances in their last game. If you're an Eagle fan, you know they went to Minnesota 2 weeks ago to play the Gophers, came within 15 seconds of beating them, and they let Tomlin uncork it 9 times. You have to imagine that if Shy was playing, though, they could have upset that Big Ten team. On first down, they feed J.D. King, the Oklahoma State transfer. He's up to the 25 for a gain of 3 or 4.
And that offense in the first half against Minnesota was so good. It was just unfortunate how they weren't able to duplicate that in the second half. The defense is what kept them in that game for the most part, especially in the fourth quarter when you had the blocked field goal taken back for a touchdown by Monclavian Brinson, then the fumble recovery for a touchdown as well.
That fumble was forced and recovered and scored by Rashad Bird.
Yes.
Yeah, that Georgia Southern defense really kept them in that game in Minneapolis. On second down, Shy the option. He's spun down around the 27-yard line. Really good tackle that time. That was Andre Jones who brought him down.
And you could tell Wirt's eyes lit up when he saw that opening up the middle, but Jones was able to beat him there. Now it's third down for Georgia Southern, and we'll see what they'll do here. It's less than 5, so they might run it.
Down inside a minute toward 30 seconds here. This has been a pretty fast first quarter. And this will be the final play in all likelihood of the first quarter. Bad snap underneath Shy's legs. He's just going to fall on that. And Danny, Georgia Southern fans, they are spinning their heads right now because last time they played in the stadium against Maine, they gave the ball up 7 times, a number of them based on bad snaps.
Yeah, and that's why they made the changes that they did this week with the offensive line with Aaron Dowdell starting at center.
That is the end of one. Cajuns up 7-3. Eagles bringing up fourth down next. All right, the Cajuns up 7-3 on Georgia Southern after 1, but Georgia Southern's got to punt it away. Bad third down play, and they'll be kicking from about their own end zone here. And Danny, that Cajuns offense was still the highlight of the first quarter.
Yeah, and leading into this game, we talked about Louisiana also averaging 7.5 yards per rush. So far throughout the first quarter, 6 yards per carry throughout 6 carries in the first quarter.
So Anthony Beck back to kick this one away from inside the 5 for Southern. He's a local kid from South Effingham High School up in Guyton. Earned that job early in the season after the LSU game. And Eric Garer fumbles the ball. Southern says they have it at the 48. And that's the break they were looking for. Georgia Southern recovers. It's Randy Wade.
And you look right here again and made the signal, made the catch, fell, lost the ball. Great recovery from Georgia Southern there.
And I'm not sure if there should have been flags on that play, but Georgia Southern's not going to complain either way. So that's the kind of break they were looking for, and all of a sudden their offense gets a second chance at life.
Well, special teams carrying over from that Minnesota game did a good job.
Certainly did. You could also say that special teams kind of saved them, or at least gave them a chance to win that game against the Gophers, right?
Right.
All right, so new first down. Wirtz looking downfield on play action, and he's going to scramble. He's going to pick up a first down to the 32-yard line, and that is exactly the kind of vintage Shai Wirtz play that they were missing the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, Shai's able to do that on his feet. Also, you got to give credit to Louisiana's defense. Good coverage there. Shai couldn't find anybody. Rolls out to his right. Able to get the first down.
So in addition to obviously beating their leading passer last year in 2018, Shai was also their leading rusher. Got to almost 1,000 yards on the ground. Cajun stack in the box, only one safety in. Well, now they'll drop two back on first down. They go to Logan Wright. Powers ahead for a gain of about 5 yards.
And one thing you got to keep in mind as well, Greg, is that the Eagles having an off week last week, it gave more time for Shai to rest up because the last couple of games, the main game and in Minnesota, he just wasn't 100%. He did warm up in those games, but it was Tomlin that got the start.
And Shai being the consummate leader that he has been for Georgia Southern, whenever Justin Tomlin scored a touchdown or engineered a drive, Shai was the first one out there on the field congratulating him. On second down and 5, Shai will keep. Turns upfield, not quite enough for a first down to the 26. And I'll tell you, like we said, Justin Tomlin had done a great job, but he never felt quite comfortable keeping the ball all that much. When Shai runs the option, certainly last year, he was more likely than not to keep the ball and take it himself.
Well, not to mention when Tomlin started those two games against Maine and Minnesota, the Eagles didn't fully open up the playbook for him because they didn't want to overwhelm him in those two starts.
They also fumbled away numerous option plays on those first couple, so the option all of a sudden is looking better than it has all year in Statesboro. Third down and 4. Here goes Shai, and the defense there to wrap him up. That'll bring up fourth down. What a hit from Chris Moncrief, as well as Jacques Boudreau.
Yeah, both Moncrief and Boudreau able to read that option, was able to take Shai down. So once again, Tyler Bass going to come out, try to knock down another field goal, put the Eagles within one.
All right, so this kick would make Tyler Bass the Georgia Southern all-time record holder for field goals made outside of 40 yards. Number one with a bullet, Tyler Bass, congratulations. It's back to a one-point game. And that'll take us to break here at Georgia Southern. It's 7-6 Cajuns, and Louisiana gets the ball back next. Well, the Cajuns offense gets the ball back here in the beginning of the second quarter. And Danny, although they've only had the ball for 3 minutes and 33 seconds, they've been passing for a lot of that. Their running backs really still are the horse that makes this offense run. Yeah,
we have yet to see this three-man running game really get going. Well, they got going in an opening drive, but we haven't seen them go for multiple plays here. And for Georgia Southern, you know, they had good field position, able to get a field goal, and only able to move that ball 16 yards before the Tyler Bass kick. You got to give credit to the Louisiana defense for answering back after the fumble on the punt return.
You bet. So this is Calais back to receive. And Tyler Bass will not give him a chance. So in case you're just joining us, it has been a whiplash kind of game observationally looking at this Louisiana offense. On their first drive, they went 75 yards in less than 90 seconds and put a touchdown on the board. The next drive, they were stopped on, I believe they got one first down and then were stopped. And then Georgia Southern kicked the field goal, and Louisiana muffed the punt. So all of a sudden, although they're still leading 7-6, they've only had the ball for like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Louisiana will do if they hold the ball for longer than that.
First down for Levi Lewis, hands up the middle to Mitchell. Powers ahead for a gain of about 4 yards, and he really is their power running back, Danny. Believe it or not, he has not been stopped for a loss once this year.
Yeah, it's hard to take them down behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, they have such a great offensive line moving the ball down the field. And for these running backs, they get past that first block and that first tackle, they can take it for 8 or 9 yards. Which is why it's important for this Eagle defense to wrap up and tackle.
Lewis on play action. That's not going to be quite a first down, although that's Nick Ralston, the graduate transfer from Arizona State, making the catch.
And great pressure from Raymond Johnson. Almost getting a sack on Lewis before he made the throw.
This is going to be a big third down and 2. Cajuns 44% this year on third down. And falling forward as Mitchell looks like he got it by about a yard.
And one thing that we didn't quite mention is how quick Louisiana is getting back to set up the next play. Not taking much time off the clock, about 5 or 6 seconds, and then they're ready to go, trying to catch the Eagle defense off guard.
So Jamarcus Bradley off the field, and back comes Jamal Bell. He's been their leading receiver today. Pair of catches for 20 yards. Lewis to throw on first down. He's got all day again, and he's going to run it again. Slides down for a gain of 4 yards. And you know, Danny, we herald their receivers. We talk about Levi Lewis. We talk about the running backs. A couple of preseason All-Sunbelt selections on this offensive line, making it all possible.
Yeah, Kevin Dotson and Robert Hunt has done a good job giving Lewis the time he needs.
Second down and 6 to Calais. He dives ahead to the 48-yard line. Looks like he got the first down, and that'll move the chains again, taking us down inside 10 minutes. And I would say for the first time in a while, that was their first extended break between plays. Empty set here for Lewis. Linebackers drop into coverage. Over the middle he goes. That's complete to Gossett. Second time they've targeted him, and he's down inside the 40-yard line.
And once again, more time in the pocket for Lewis to throw. You've seen those last 2 plays. He sent Calais over to the left side, having him as a backup in case you just got to dump it off to someone if you can't find anyone downfield.
Lewis on the keeper. Tried to escape Parker, and he's down inside the 20-yard line. Can't believe that. What a play.
Now this game settling in. Louisiana looking to execute.
He broke a couple of ankles, and don't usually see Monquavian Brinson come up short on an arm tackle either. This is going to be second down and short. He stepped out of bounds, 2nd and 1. This is a new set for the Cajuns on 2nd and short. That's Regas, their leading rusher, down to the 10-yard line. And this offense, Danny, once they start, they don't stop, and Southern's defense needs a big stop here.
Big misdirection as well for Regas. Almost had me fooled there for a moment.
Took me a second. Okay, so Louisiana in the red zone for the first time tonight. They scored touchdowns on 80% of their red zone trips, 20 for 26 this year. And they'll give it to Regas again. Down to the 3-yard line, and this is a train that's not going to come off the tracks.
I mean, such great blocking from that offensive line. You saw the hole opened up for Regas to go downfield. Solid game.
Well, Mitchell had the first rushing touchdown of the game for the Cajuns. And Trey Regas has number 2. 13-6 Louisiana. And that is the 5th rushing touchdown of the year for the redshirt junior out of New Orleans. He had Power 5 offers coming out of high school in New Orleans, offers to Utah, Indiana. Since then has proven that you do not need to go to a big school to have big numbers. Leading rusher on the best rushing offense so far in college football. All right, 14-6, and Danny, that did not take long on that drive either.
Yeah, it was a great run from Regas there to get the touchdown and put the Raging Cajuns ahead.
All right, Georgia Southern's offense needs to bounce back again. 8 minutes to go in the half. Well, Dan, we know that Tyler Bass is one of the best field goal kickers in the group of 5, but I'll tell you, he's been responsible for pretty much all of Georgia Southern's offense, down 14-6, and that 6 was on a pair of field goals.
Yeah, 28-yarder in the first, a 44-yarder in the second, keeping the Eagles close to win this game.
They were within 1 until that last drive where Louisiana drove most of the way down the field and punched it in via Trey Regas. And Georgia Southern will take it from the 25-yard line.
One question I have for both teams, because both have a three-man running game that they use. I want to know, what's the formula for switching those running backs up? Because we've seen how even the carries have been for Louisiana's group.
Well, you know, I read this week that Louisiana does not ride the hot hand. They just cycle it in based on really the formation and who hasn't had a chance and who's been resting. Georgia Southern is much more apt to ride the hot hand.
They're out there right now with J.D. King in the back as he'll start this drive off.
As you're just joining us, Shai Wertz back for the first time under center since the LSU game. They feed the Oklahoma State transfer in the defensive line to tackle him there for maybe a gain of 3 yards. Danny, how would you evaluate Shai's performance so far in the first half since he's come back?
He's done a good job. I mean, he's made some big runs to get some first downs and to get the Eagles closer to scoring. So far, 9 carries for 47 yards. He had the big 21-yard pickup. If anything, he looks 100%.
I would say it looks 100% healthy, and just in terms of the offense, the dimension he adds of being able to run at 30 yards is just unmatched. On second down, he gives it to Speedy LaRoche, and he cut upfield right into the heart of the linebackers.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't try to cut outside the lineman and bounce outside to get a couple of yards there. It's going to be 3rd down and 4, and if I'm Shai Wertz, I keep it yourself. Try to get the first down.
And I think if you're the Louisiana defensive line, you've been prepared for him to play this game. I think you're ready for that. I think the linebackers might be spying him. We'll see. 3rd down and a short 4. That's King in the backfield. They'll feed him. And I don't think he got there. This is going to be 4th down for Southern. I'm surprised they didn't keep it to Shai.
And as we talked about with J.D. King, who's had a slow start here in this season,
it's just not, the holes just aren't there for him.
Not in there.
That is going to bring up 4th down, and Chad Lunsford's going to trust the defense. Out comes the kick unit.
The last time Louisiana muffed a punt return, put the Eagles in good field position, ended up on a 5-play drive getting the field goal. We'll see if Lightning can strike twice.
Wouldn't count on it.
Only one way to find out.
All right, Anthony back at the 20. This is Guerrer from the 15. He dropped it again. You got to be kidding me. For the second time this game, Southern's got it, and this time it's inside the 10. And it's Najee Thompson on the recovery. That is something you would not expect in a million years.
I told you. We have to wait and see what would happen. Lightning struck twice.
All right, Tony Romo. Don't pull your shoulder by patting yourself on the back.
No. But once again, great field position for Georgia Southern. Now they have a chance to go for the touchdown and maybe even try to go for the 2-point conversion to tie this game up. If I'm Chad Lunsford, that's what I want to try to do here.
Man, Billy Napier must be close to a heart attack on the sidelines. So the Eagles back in the red zone. Logan Wright stays on his feet inside the 5 and down between the 1 and the 2.
Well, when we talked to the coaches leading up to this game for Georgia Southern, Chad Lunsford said they got to play a perfect game on all 4 sides. That's offense, defense, special teams, and sideline as well. getting the motivation from your players on the side. And one thing we know for sure, special teams has done such a great job with the punts, fumble recoveries, and the 2 field goals from Tyler Bass.
Well, Logan Wright is in there in the backfield. He is their power running back. 1 touchdown this year so far. He's going to go for 2. And he's going to get it. And Georgia Southern is right back in it with 5 minutes until halftime. Okay, Danny, if you're a Georgia Southern fan, 1, you're very happy. 2, though, this is back-to-back games where just pure mistakes from other teams are allowing you to get second chances.
Well, special teams is a very crucial part of the game, and that's what helped the Eagles against Minnesota, and it's helped them so far today against Louisiana.
Should Chad Lunsford buy a lottery ticket tonight?
Well, he bought multiple tickets for Eagle Nation to show out to this game, so you never know.
That was a good segue. Okay, so the offense is looking pretty good. What still has not fully come together tonight is a long, sustained defensive stop from Georgia Southern. Either they stop the Cajuns on 3 and out, or they give up an 80-yard drive.
Yeah, and you look back here at this touchdown run by Logan Wright. He is the power back of this 3-man running game for Georgia Southern. Got behind his lineman. He was able to push himself into the end zone for the touchdown. The second touchdown of the year for number 2, Logan Wright.
Chad Lunsford, like we said at the beginning of the game, bought a lot of tickets himself, encouraged alumni to donate tickets to try to fill the stadium as much as possible. The goal tonight was to get to 20,000 for the first time since 2016. And now that the tailgating is over and the game is on, I think we got pretty close. I'm not sure if it's quite 20. We'll find out later tonight. As Bass is ready to boot this one away, no one's been able to return it tonight. And that'll continue.
So you got less than 5 minutes left to go. If you're Louisiana, you want to use all 5 minutes of the second quarter to move the ball downfield, a field goal or a touchdown. The touchdown more likely to get ahead here.
You know what I was going to say is they really have to focus on slowing it down, because when they have gone down the field and scored, I mean, Louisiana's only had the ball in this first half for 7.5 minutes.
I don't know about slowing it down because they moved down the field in 5 plays in the opening drive, so keep that same up tempo.
All right, Levi Lewis out of the gun, back at the 20. Linebacker blitz coming as Calais runs along the outside of the defensive line there to gobble him up. And on the tackle that time for Georgia Southern, that was Raymond Johnson III. And Todd Bradley as well. And a 2 on the play, 2nd down and 8. Down inside 4.5 minutes.
Before play action here, 3 receivers out.
Back to the ground they go, and Calais got a first down and takes a couple of defenders with him up across the 35-yard line, and nothing Kendrick Duncan could do there. The safety got taken for a ride.
A nice draw play from Lewis, able to hand it off to Calais.
Man, this offense has been so efficient. 3 running backs already over the 20-yard mark, and Levi Lewis through the air 5 for 7 for 90 yards. And he'll look to throw on first down, but here comes pressure. And he's got a wide open Jamarcus Bradley for his first catch of the night. He's down to the 42-yard line, their number 1 receiver.
And that's the first reception from Bradley. We were looking for him here throughout this first half. Throughout majority of the half, Lewis went to Jamal Bell and Bam Jackson.
He is so good that Pro Football Focus right now has him graded as the number 2 receiver in the FBS, behind only Justin Jefferson of LSU.
Someone's going to be looking for a wide receiver come April.
Out of the gun they go. They'll feed Trey Regas. Spins ahead for a gain of 9 yards.
And this is why you got to take him down off first contact, because Regas does a great job getting off that first tackle and gaining about 5 or 6 more yards downfield.
Yeah, Raynard Ellis was the one that eventually brought him down. So 1 yard to go, 2nd and 1. This is down to 3 minutes, and here come the Cajuns. That's Gossett in motion. Back to the ground, and another first down as they go across the 30. And Regis will stay in. And now he'll trot out. They'll sub in Elijah Mitchell.
So you talk about not going to the hot hand for Louisiana's running game.
They just want to keep them. They want to keep them rested and keep them alive.
That's the right way to go.
Well, when you have 3 unbelievable running backs, you don't need to just keep the one in there.
And either 3 of them can score.
On the new first down, they'll give to Mitchell. Spun down for a moderate game there by Donald Rutledge. New safety came in to become the starter just this week.
Yeah, starting over Darrell Baker Jr. here this week. Rutledge, a graduate from Sumter, South Carolina. Broke up a couple of passes so far.
The Cajuns are doing a great job with clock management. They're to the 25. 2 minutes to go in the half.
Not to mention they have all 3 of their timeouts still.
3 down linemen. They'll bring a linebacker blitz. Mitchell can't quite hit the 3rd level gain of 2 or 3 on the play, and here comes 3rd down.
It being 3rd down. They're going to say 4.
Yeah, that was a short 2.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw play action or Lewis keep himself and try to go for the first.
They can do pretty much whatever they want. They are loaded with talent at every position on offense. 3rd down and 4 inside 90 seconds. It's Mitchell. And he's got a first down to the 18-yard line. Like we said, contact does not stop him. Not once all season has he been taken down behind the line.
Yeah, should have said stick with the running game. I mean, he does such a great job here in this drive. They're at least getting 5 yards to carry here so far in the first half.
Cajuns back in the red zone. They'll feed Mitchell, and again, he takes a couple of linebackers down with him, a gain of 5 or 6.
And also, with this being such an explosive offense, you got to remember, Louisiana in their last 3 games, they scored 35 points or more.
We're going to take a quick break here. Louisiana calls timeout with inside a minute. They'll go for a touchdown, but they also take 3. Well, Tyler Bass has been a big part of this Eagles offense in the first half. We'll hear from him with an exclusive interview coming up at halftime, which is less than a minute from now. 52 seconds to go in the first half. And the Ragin' Cajuns up 1 point on Southern and down in their red zone again. Levi Lewis out of the gun on 2nd down. Back they go to Trey Regis. Southern defense there with a big stop with about 45 seconds.
And that's really the first loss of yards that we've seen from this Louisiana running game here tonight.
And Rashad Bird on the tackle. Danny, he has been the best player on defense so far this year for Southern, I'd say.
Yeah, and he was one of the impact players on this Eagle defense. Bird along with Raynard Ellis, seeing how those middle linebackers are going to come up and lead that interior 7 to stopping the running game.
This would be a big 3rd down. It's Regis. Down to about the 9. This is going to be awfully close for number 9. And it looks like he picked it up by about a half yard. So first down it is. 13 seconds as the clock runs.
They're going to go for it. They have 2 timeouts, and now...
I was going to wonder when they were going to call a timeout, and here comes Billy Napier. He will burn one. Okay, so if Georgia Southern goes down an extra touchdown here, that's going to be difficult, although they do get the ball back to begin the second half. I will say, if Southern holds them to a field goal, all of a sudden this game has a very different feel after the first 2 quarters.
We're going to add an extra second on the clock, so 11 seconds now for Napier and company to score. And I think they try to go for a quick pass here. You can go for that or go for a quick run. You have 1 more timeout left, so you have 1 play to try to go for the touchdown. If not, you can go for a field goal and be happy.
Although if you're the Cajuns, field goals have not been your friend this year. This would be a short one, but their field goal kicker, Stevie Artigue, is 1 for 5 on field goals this year.
Yeah, the only one he's hit was a 27-yarder, so it would be in good position for him to make that kick, but
they feel safer with the touchdown.
Right, absolutely.
For more reasons than one. All right, so 11 seconds. Billy Napier must have drawn something good up. He always does. They'll send Mitchell in motion. Lewis with a bullet over the middle. Pass falls incomplete.
Only 3 seconds went by. You have a chance for one more opportunity.
Yeah, I would say so. And that was also intentional because Lewis could have danced around in the backfield, but he wanted to get rid of it, have a chance for one more.
Right. Sometimes when you have someone going with the slant route, you can find an opening in the middle. No luck there for Lewis. We'll see if he goes to that man again.
Likely the final play from scrimmage here of the first half. Mitchell in motion. Lewis for his leading receiver, Bradley. That one falls incomplete. Great coverage by the first team all-conference corner, Kendall Vildor.
And also preseason Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Year was able to stop Bradley. This time 4 seconds go off the clock, and they're going to go for the field goal here. And I'm going to try and risk it again.
And here comes Stevie Artigue. Like we said, 1 for 5 on field goals this year. He has not hit anything from outside 30 yards.
With 2 timeouts, I wouldn't be surprised if Lundford tries to ice the kicker.
He might. So this is from 25. This is in his range. They won't ice him. That one flies up and through. Okay, though, Danny, I would say that is a win for Georgia Southern to close the half.
Yeah, able to get a field goal, and the Eagles do get the ball to start the second.
Halftime show coming up on ESPN+. Cajuns up 17-13. All right, just about ready to get things started here in the second half on ESPN+. And Danny, we talked about Billy Napier returning to Paulson Stadium for the first time in a while. This time as the Cajuns head coach, but he came here a couple times as a player.
That's got to be so cool. Back in the FCS days, he came to Statesboro as a quarterback for Furman, taking on Georgia Southern in the FCS semifinals. Won that game, went to the finals, unfortunately lost in the championship. Well, that's got to be a cool little known fact about Billy Napier, as he's very fond of his Georgia Southern team. It'll be interesting to see how Georgia Southern answers back to get the ball to start the second half. Louisiana was able to get that field goal as time expired in the second quarter.
And I'll tell you what, the Georgia Southern offense showed some really strong flashes, and Shai Wertz being back makes all the difference.
Definitely a motivation sparker for this Eagles team. Now we'll see how things go in the second.
Well, the crowd is all here, and they have been loud throughout the duration of halftime. And they're going to get really good field position. Heads up play by Jesse Liptrot. That one bounced out of bounds around the 1.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team, number 45. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down, Georgia Southern.
All right, starting at the 25, starting at 35.
And
now.
they catch a break. So as Shai Wertz comes back out to lead this team, let's get your thoughts on how Shai played in the first half. Again, in case you're just joining us, Shai was injured in the first half of Game 1 against LSU 4 weeks ago. This is his first game back. I think he's looked awfully good.
Yeah, he's done a really good job so far leading this offense. 9 carries, 47 yards here in the half. He had that 21-yard run that we saw during halftime and during the first quarter. We'll see if he can continue that momentum.
First play of scrimmage from the second half. A handoff to Logan Wright. He's got a gain of 2 or 3 yards on the play. Shai Wertz, as you might expect, Southern's leading rusher in the first half, but Logan Wright, the leading running back.
Yeah, we haven't seen much from the 3-man running game for Georgia Southern. Logan Wright just getting that carry, but he's under 30 yards here so far. J.D. King, 4 carries, 14 yards. Matt LaRoche, 5 carries, only 9 yards so far.
All right, second down and 8 yards. Shai only threw 1 pass in the first half. That was an end zone ball for Darian Anderson that fell incomplete. High snap, Shai recovers and goes down inside the 30. Second difficult snap of the night.
Yeah, you got to wonder what's going on at center. I mean, Aaron Dowdell making his first start at center, replacing Jacob Cooper, was the former starting left guard. Now Lawrence Edwards starting at left guard. Something we weren't expecting to see. 2 bad snaps.
Yeah, certainly as we weren't expecting to see based on how Chad Lunsford expected those kids to respond after the last home game where that happened a lot against Maine.
And you got to think as well, for an off week, you've had plenty of time to prepare yourself. You can't have that happen.
This is 3rd down and 17. And Shy goes down. Absolute jailbreak into the backfield.
Tariq Miller, the redshirt senior from Pensacola, Florida, found an opening and took it. And there you see nobody had him blocked.
And that opening drive of the second half comes to an end pretty fast for Georgia Southern with a couple of unfortunate plays. But if we know anything about them, they're certainly capable of bouncing back in pretty short order. Anthony Beck back to punt this one away from inside the 5.
Now, I know Billy Napier had to talk about the mistakes that were made on special teams and how they're going to change that here in a second. We saw it back-to-back times in the first. This one will bounce.
I'll take it from the 35. Good run back that time by Garrett.
I think the most important thing about that was just making sure you secure the football.
In case you're just joining us, go ahead and Danny, tell them what happened in the first half.
There were 2 instances of special teams for Louisiana where they didn't get a proper grab of the ball. 2 fumbles put the Eagles in great field position, which resulted in 10 points for Georgia Southern as well.
Certainly did. So it's only a 4-point game at halftime. Levi Lewis back out to lead this Cajuns offense. 6 for 10 through the air in the first half. 110 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. And that's Elijah Mitchell in the backfield. Play action over the middle he goes, and he connects with Jamal Bell for the 3rd time tonight. That ball is on the ground. It's recovered by David Rutledge. The Cajuns are wondering if that's even a loose ball. Southern says it's actually a fumble, and it looks like they are going to get that back.
Well, first of all, a great strip by Kendall Vildor. After the quick pass, let's take another look here.
They're going to review this.
1, 2. He went down first before the ball went out, so that might be coming back.
That was my initial thought, but we're going to take a look on the replay.
Yeah, on initial look on the replay, it looked like he went down before the ball went out, but officials going to look this one over to see.
With a fumble and recovery by the defense is under further review.
And that's the right move.
Right. A close game like this, definitely going to look back and see if it was a fumble. Nonetheless, a great strip by Kendall Vildor and a great recovery by Donald Rutledge making his first start.
Well, I'll tell you, Kendall Vildor, as expected, has been totally locked down tonight. They went for an end zone pass, and Kendall knocked it away in the second quarter. I think that might have been out before he hit the ground, now that I see that again.
That's very close. A great strike to
Here's a good
Jamal
camera
Bell.
angle.
Once again, another turnover would be big momentum for Georgia Southern here. Gonna slow it up and see.
I'll tell you, I'm not sure we have indisputable video evidence either way.
Yeah, it's going to be a close call. You see Chad Lunsford looking on for Georgia Southern.
And I'll tell you, the way they are fighting and forcing turnovers, this is the Georgia Southern way, very blue collar on defense.
Absolutely. And as we talked about, you got to play a perfect game on all 4 fronts: offense, defense, special teams, and sideline. And The official is coming close to making a decision. I mean, it really could go either way. While we do have a break in the action, Appalachian State leading Coastal Carolina 35-21 in the third quarter in Boone. Arkansas State up 31-24 on Troy.
Looks like we might get this wrapped up in a second here.
We're tied at 7 between South Allen and Louisiana Monroe.
Here we go.
After further review, the ruling is the runner was down prior to losing possession. Therefore, the 1st and 10 for Louisiana at the 39-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 12:44.
And they will say that was indisputable. I believe we have one more look on the replay here. And here's Bell.
So he got possession 1-2. And his knee was down before the football went out. So
that's the right call.
Right call indeed.
That must have been the angle they were looking at all along. They were holding out on us.
But nonetheless, it's got to be some life pumped into Georgia Southern there, because it shows that they're able to make some stops on defense if needed.
Yeah, they've certainly been lowering the hammer a couple times tonight on defense and have looked great doing so. It's been a certainly eventful first couple minutes of the second half. Lewis out of the gun. They'll feed Mitchell. What a tackle coming in out of the backfield. Randy Wade Jr. busted in and blew it up.
Yeah, the question is now, how do you answer and overcome that adversity? And Randy Wade, great tackle for the stop. Loss of 1.
And this is about as close as you'll feel allowing Louisiana to be comfortable. We know they've had a difficult time with long field goals so far this year. If you keep them at bay here, this is pretty safe. 2nd down and 11 after a loss of 1. Mitchell, the motion man, out of the backfield, so Lewis looks to throw. And he dumps it off to Mitchell. Takes a couple to bring him down, and that's Bleem on the tackle.
Wide receiver, running back screen there. Great blocks by Nick Ralston and Peter LeBlanc. And then Mitchell absorbing the contact off the first hit and was able to fight for a couple of yards.
3rd down and 6. And Ty Phillips is telling Paulson Stadium to get loud. Big 3rd down. It's Mitchell. He's got a hold of the 30. He fell forward. And this is going to be right up against the line. We will see.
It's going to be close. He may have been short.
They're going to call it 4th and inches, and they're going to leave their offense out here.
Wasting no time. They're going to go for it.
They're only 1 for 5 on 4th down this year. Well, I guess now make it 2 for 6 down toward the 20.
And they knew. I mean, these running backs can move the ball downfield. There was
Billy Napier
no
didn't
dots.
even need to think about it.
No, I mean, we talked about how the field goal kicker's been struggling so far this season. Didn't want to risk it. Just went for the run.
Yeah, I would say that was probably analytically the right play.
Right.
On a new 1st down, Regis now in the backfield, and they'll give it to their leading rusher. Takes the whole Southern defense to bring him down after he bounced off C.J. Wright on the defensive line.
And this is why you got to wrap up and tackle him. Todd Bradley had a direct line to make the stop in the backfield, but great job by the running back to get over him and get a couple of yards.
No kidding. So being inside the red zone has been positive for both teams tonight. Both the Cajuns and Eagles 2 for 2 in the red zone. Play action, Lewis rolls out. He's got a man on the far side. It's Nick Ralston. He's down inside the 10 for a 1st down. 2nd catch of the night for the grad transfer out of Arizona State.
What's interesting about Ralston is entering this game, he only had 2 catches, but both of those catches were for touchdowns. And on that play, great rollout to the left side. No one had Ralston. He's kind of been invisible throughout the majority of this game.
He's a really good short yardage guy when you need him.
Absolutely. And now it's 1st and goal for Louisiana, trying to get a touchdown here.
And Lewis keeps it on the RPO, looking to dump it off. And he throws it out of bounds, bringing up second down.
For a moment there, I thought he went with the handoff. Didn't even know he kept it himself with the RPO.
They really haven't run much RPO, but I'll tell you, he is so good with his decision-making that I kind of see them probably doing it more as the season goes along.
Well, it's second down here. You have Trey Regis in the back. Regis already with 57 yards on 9 carries and a touchdown. Maybe looking for a second.
Ebene's Flink and Lewis on this play. 2 in motion as he moves in the backfield. Second and goal. Regis will keep it and dive ahead for his second touchdown of the night.
I think they're going to say he was short,
Are they?
so he went down just inside the 1.
No, you're right. Yeah, his knee was down between the 1 and the 2. So they'll try this again on third down and goal. Regis gets a second chance. He'll try to fall forward.
I don't think he got it. He stopped.
And the Southern defense comes up huge.
Well, big question here for Louisiana. If you go for the field goal, you're up by 6, but you keep Georgia Southern close.
Yeah, we will see.
You're going to go for it. Offense is still out there on the field.
And they're on their feet in Paulson. They were trying to get 20,000 in the door tonight. It's one of the great home field advantages in college football. Can it lead them to a 4th down stop?
If I'm Lewis, I'm going underneath the center. Probably a quarterback sneak.
Play action. He's looking for Bell. And he's got Bradley in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Cajuns. Levi Lewis knows how to extend a play, man.
I'm a little bit surprised they went for a rollout on 4th and 1. Maybe 4th and inches. I would have thought quarterback sneak up the middle. He lined up underneath the center.
Well, so this is Bell who went in motion. They were looking for him. They've been going to him all night.
Then you see Lewis finds Bradley right in between the middle linebackers, Rashad Byrd and Raynard Ellis.
All right, here's Artigue to make it 11 points. And he's got it. Louisiana goes up 24-13 on Georgia Southern as we approach the midway mark of the third quarter. Special guest. All right, we are back live on ESPN Plus. Cajuns up 11 on Georgia Southern midway through the third quarter. Happy to be joined by a pretty big-time guest here in the ESPN Plus broadcast booth, the new commissioner of the Sun Belt Conference, Keith Gill. First time here for a game in Statesboro. Keith, what do you think?
Oh, it's outstanding. Game presentation is unbelievable. Crowd has been great, and we've got a terrific game going on.
Yeah, this is a real power pulse and atmosphere you're kind of getting. What are your thoughts on the fact that we got so many for a great conference game? I know we have a couple other good games in the conference tonight, but you're seeing a couple of the top teams.
Yeah, 2 of the best teams in the conference. The student participation is unbelievable. We've got to be 10,000 students here. The fans have been great, really knowledgeable, so much energy. It's just such an incredible atmosphere.
They were trying to pack Paulson all week and try to break the 20,000 mark. I'm sure it was just because you were coming.
Yeah, well, I doubt that, but it's impressive, though. It's impressive. I was telling the AD earlier, I was just like, great job with this crowd. It really is a great crowd.
Yeah, Tom Kleinlein's done a really great job, and the Georgia Southern offense is going to try to get things going here from the 8-minute mark to go as Jesse Liptrot goes sprinting across the 20-yard line and then gets dropped on a pretty big hit. So we'll see how this Georgia Southern offense can respond after the good return from Jesse Liptrot. Now, I believe this is your second trip to Statesboro. You were here a couple of months ago, yes?
Yes, I was here a couple months ago just doing kind of an orientation, went around to all the league schools just to kind of familiarize myself with each place.
All right, so you've been to a couple of games now. We're into week 5 of the college football season. Where have you been so far?
So I've been to Texas State. I've also been to South Alabama. Been to a game in the Superdome what Louisiana played in, so bounced around the league quite a bit.
All right, new 1st and 10. Shai Wirtz hands off to Logan Wright. power running back, had a touchdown in the first half. He powers ahead for a gain of about 2 yards. Oh, so you were there in week 1 when Louisiana took Mississippi State down pretty far.
Yes, yeah, no, it was a great game. They played great. You can see, really quality opponent, and obviously going to have a great year with the quality of football they're playing.
So Georgia Southern bringing up 2nd down and 8 after a gain of 2. Well, now that we have you here, Commish, I want to ask you a couple questions about the direction you hope to have the Sun Belt Conference moving in. I know that you've got a football background, but basketball is also pretty big on your agenda as well.
Yes, yeah, we're working hard to get better at both men's and women's basketball. So that's going to be important to us to be the great league that we know we are. We should be good at football and also good at basketball too.
And a couple scheduling changes for basketball coming up this year as well, right?
Yes, yeah. So we decided not to do the pod system, and we're, kind of having more of a traditional kind of schedule. We're also looking at some things with our championships that our presidents and ADs will talk about at their fall meeting. So we really are kind of looking forward to making some adjustments to try to improve ourselves in that sport.
Well, I mentioned your background just a little bit, too, for the people who might not have been privy to the press releases or social media. Tell us how you got here.
Yeah, so, I played football at Duke, so I was a running back, so I can appreciate Georgia Southern. And, they're running the ball as much as they do and kind of being traditional. And then I left Duke, I went to the NCAA, also worked at Vanderbilt, at Oklahoma, and at the A-10 conference office as well. So.
Gain of about 6 yards at that time as J.D. King, the Oklahoma State transfer, got up to the 40. What was it about the Sun Belt jump that attracted you to it?
Really excited about FBS football. Such a quality football conference. Like, this game to me is great. You got a spread team.
Yeah.
You got a traditional kind of option team. And it's just kind of fun watching the different styles and the high quality of football that's in this conference.
All right, 2nd down and 4, down inside the 6-minute mark of the 3rd. Wirtz gives it to Logan Wright, takes a couple of defenders with him, and he's up to nearly midfield. Logan Wright's had a great game so far, leading running back in terms of stats so far for Georgia Southern. And like you mentioned, running game, Keith, you've seen a couple of great running backs for each team. We have 6 or 7 really great running backs between the two teams in this game.
Very, very good. Georgia State's running the ball really well.
Georgia Southern. I can't let you say State in this booth, Commish. I'm sorry.
I apologize saying that on the air. And then Louisiana being so balanced, with the pass and also with the run. So, a million apologies to all the folks listening.
You're going to get about 100 Southern not State tweets by the time you get back on your phone.
And probably get a couple of emails. So, honest mistake. I'm new. Do I get to?
Yes, you get
to use the?
You get a one-game
brand
pass,
new pass.
Yeah.
So I do know the difference, so I will assure everyone.
All right, down inside 5 minutes. Wirtz back on offense for 2nd and 11. He'll keep it himself, staying on his feet down inside the 45 toward the 1st down sticks. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I know you're still getting to know all the key players in this football conference. Shai Wirtz is about as electric a player and as good a kid as you're going to find.
Right. Yeah. And they play so hard. Super talented, plays hard. Looks like you're about to get another 15 yards added on to the play here. So
it looks like they'll get a free couple set of downs here down inside the 5-minute mark. Tell us about getting to know Chad Lunsford. He's one of the great characters in the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah, so really have enjoyed my time with him. Got a chance to visit with him a little bit before the game just to wish him luck and say congratulations. And he's done such a terrific job here. Really incredible work, incredible football coach. And it's kind of fun to watch his success, type of person you root for.
That's exactly right. All right, new 1st down. They got to get down to the 19. Only 3 down for the Cajuns. Wirtz on play action. Extending the play toward the sideline. Somehow manages to get dropped for maybe a loss of 1 that play as Moncrief came on the side.
It's nice watching him make plays with his feet, he can turn nothing into a little bit of something.
And something impressive too? As of right now, Shai has not thrown an interception in 122 passes. Didn't throw a single one all of last year.
Wow.
Longest streak in the country, by the way. Good trivia for you to take back to New Orleans.
Yeah, exactly.
Second and long after the loss. Snap off to the side as they go to King. He's down across the 25-yard line, bringing up a pretty good third down. Once again, joined here by Keith Gill, in case you're just joining us, the first-year commissioner of the Sun Belt Conference. So where are you off to next, Keith?
So I'm headed to South Alabama on Thursday.
New stadium coming in the future for them.
Yes, yeah, and actually, I think they play Georgia Southern on Thursday.
Coming this Thursday on ESPN.
Yeah, so I will be there on Thursday, and then I'm going to ULM on Saturday.
Big third down coming up. Low snap. Wirtz runs the option. He'll keep it himself and turn upfield inside the 15-yard line.
He makes such good decisions. Really good decision maker. You see the way he kind of pressed the force and then cut that inside for a really nice gain.
Well, and I'll tell you, this is the first time he's gotten to be on the field since week 1 at LSU, where he went down with an injury, had to sit out. I love the fire he's playing with. You can tell he's relishing getting to bust it out again.
Yeah, well, it's so hard when you're a football player. You've got 12 games, so to miss a game is it's just so hard to miss a game. You miss 2, so when you get back to play, you play with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm.
Eagles back in the red zone, 2 for 2 scoring in the red zone tonight. Wirtz in the backfield with 3 backs. He'll run the option and get dropped for a loss. Andre Jones coming out of nowhere for the tackle.
Yeah, that was a really good defensive play. I mean, to be able to tackle him in space, that's a very difficult thing to do.
That's the one thing. If Shai Wirtz, if you run into a gang of hyenas and the linebackers, that's one thing. If you can make a play in space against him, you can put that on your highlight reel.
No question. Not too many people can do that.
No.
As we've seen tonight.
Well, Shai is certainly leading the Eagles on a great drive. Very good. And eating clock. They are down inside 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Cam Brown in at tight end on the far side. Another high snap. That play goes to King for maybe a gain of 1 yard. And Commish, as we approach the end of the third quarter here, how do you see this thing going? I'm not asking for a prediction, but I think we're going to see this game might get back within 1 touchdown.
Whoever has the ball last. Georgia Southern obviously has a really good answer here. Their defense is getting some rest. They're in position. They're in the red zone to put some points on the board. This is a really big third down here. So critical third down for them, certainly trailing 2 scores. But yeah, this is a even game, well matched, and I see it coming down to the end.
Third down and 10. They got to get down to the 3. Wirtz is 0 for 1 through the air tonight. They feed to J.D. King. He's down to the 3. Looks like he fell forward and got a first down. Didn't quite get to the end zone. But here come the Eagles inside the 5.
Yeah, what a great tough run that was, A little inside read, breaks the tackle, gets all the way to the 3-yard line. So exactly what they needed on 3rd and long.
And that was the J.D. King run we've kind of been waiting to see for a couple of games, and they're going to leave him in here and maybe try to get him his first touchdown as a Georgia Southern Eagle.
Yeah, as a running back, you love to see 3rd and long runs. You don't see too many of those in college football, so.
Inside a minute to go here in the 3rd. King, the running back. They're going to feed him. And J.D. King has his first touchdown in the blue and white.
Wow. Another tough inside run. So
really excellent series drawn up by the Georgia Southern offensive coordinator, Bob DeBess. That clock management, the way they spread it out, that was pretty vintage Georgia Southern.
It was vintage Georgia Southern. And, it's great. They know what they do. They know who they are, and they do it really well. Run down the clock. We're almost into the 4th quarter now. Punch it in for a touchdown and make it a 1-score game. And their defense gets that rest for when they come back on the field.
Yeah, that was really a terrific drive from Shai Wirtz as well. He really managed to move the ball downfield and didn't come close to giving it up once.
Yeah, he puts so much pressure on a defense. He can just do so much, and it makes it so hard to make those choices.
Looks like we might have a review. You have to imagine they're guessing if King went down with the ball over the plane or maybe if his knee was down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when they take a look at it.
Looks like they need a couple of get-back coaches there for something.
It wouldn't be football without the get-back coach.
No, well, this is passion. This is the kind of Sun Belt game you love. One possession in the third quarter. This is great.
Exactly. It is great.
All right, so here's J.D. King.
It does look like that elbow might have been down a little short of the goal line. So it'll be interesting to see what the call is.
Watch his elbow and his left knee. That might be too close to call.
Yeah, might be. Yeah.
And it looks like they're going to call this one back.
Yeah, just short. So. But I mean, I think I just give it to the hot hand here, right? You know, just.
Well, I think they've been excited to get J.D. King his first touchdown in a Georgia Southern uniform. I can see Chad Lunsford wanting to give him a make good here.
Yeah. Well, he's tried back on the field, so.
He is. He's going to flank Wirtz out to the right with Cam Brown on the line as a tight end. And that's Mark Mashad to the top of your screen as the split wideout. So here they come again. They're putting 26 seconds on the clock. And back they go to him. There's your make good, J.D. King. Touchdown, Southern.
You know, one of the great things about Georgia Southern is you have a sense of what they're going to do, and it's still hard to stop. You know what's coming, you still can't stop it.
We had a flag on the play as he crossed the goal line. Or shortly thereafter. That looked like it came from the side. That's a personal foul on the defense. It'll stand.
It'll be interesting to see if they. Looks like they're going to go for two here. Seems like that was what the chart would say.
Not a big surprise. They want to get it back within a field goal as we head to the fourth quarter, right?
Exactly.
Cannot blame them. So J.D. King's going to stay in there. They'll also bring Matt LaRoche into the backfield. And they'll go for two. They'll feed J.D. King again. J.D. King is the hot hand in the third quarter. He's got the two-point conversion, and it's a three-point game.
Yeah, that was a tough run right there. It was a hard-earned 2 yards.
All right, Commissioner Gill, thank you so much for joining us. You've got a fun fourth quarter to enjoy.
I know. Thank you.
Back after this.
Thanks for having me.
All right, other scores around the Sun Belt Conference. The other one that we thought would be good, Danny, has turned out to be pretty good. Ark State and Troy tied up at halftime.
Yeah, a couple of shootouts here in the Sun Belt Conference. It's now 42-30 Appalachian State over Coastal Carolina. Fourth quarter, moments away from beginning. Louisiana Monroe just scored, made it 17-7 over South Alabama. Texas State and Nichols are tied at 3 with under 8 minutes to play in the second.
Yeah, that one would be underwhelming.
Well, we've seen a lot of interesting games involving Sun Belt Conference teams this season. I mean, in the first couple of weeks, you saw multiple Sun Belt teams beat Power 5 teams. Appalachian State defeated North Carolina. Coastal Carolina surviving against Kansas as well. Georgia Southern was close to upsetting Minnesota.
Yeah, the Sun Belt's had a really good first couple of weeks here against Power 5 teams. Couple wins, couple near wins. And we'll have time for one or maybe two more plays here in the third quarter before we head on to the fourth. As Levi Lewis is back out from the 25-yard line for the Cajuns. 3 down linemen for Southern, but the linebackers looking like they might shoot the gaps in. They do. Quick dump off outside to Jalen Williams. He was not expecting that so fast.
Yeah, Williams was not ready to receive that pass from Lewis.
Little surprising considering his lineage. Jalen Williams started his college career at LSU before he transferred. And I'll tell you, this scene in Paulson as we go to the fourth quarter and as we go to commercial break and come back, it is going to get loud in here for a 3-point game headed to the fourth.
Yeah, after that long drive from Georgia Southern, able to get on the board, touchdown and 2-point conversion from J.D. King.
Trey Regis bounces to the outside, takes Rashad Burden, a couple of guys to take him down, and that takes us down to the end of the third quarter. This is going to be so good. We expected it to be close, and it looks like we are getting what we thought. 24-21 Cajuns. We're going to the fourth in the Fun Belt. Well, the general consensus around this game as we head to the fourth quarter was that it was going to come down to the final 15 minutes. And that's what we've got. Cajuns by 3 on top of the Eagles, 24-21. Coming up for a big third down on offense. They are 4 for 5 tonight on third down, and they're facing 3rd and 7.
Big third down here for the Eagle defense to make a stop and see if they can get it.
Levi Lewis out of an empty set, and here come the linebackers on the blitz. He'll step up, he's got space, and he'll power forward for the first down by about 2 yards. The mistake there was sending the linebackers around the outside rather than up the middle.
Yeah, and with that, Lewis found an opening on the outside and able to get the first down.
Yeah, Lewis has been pretty great tonight. 6 for 10 through the air for over 100 yards and now about 30 yards rushing. But this Cajuns offense looked much better in the first half. New first down, it's a trick play. This is Raymond Calais. And despite a missed tackle, he is still wrapped up in the backfield by Donald Rutledge.
Yeah, and Calais has gotten the lesser of the carries between this three-man running game for Louisiana. Was able to get past one defender. A great stop by Rutledge. Once again, making his first career start.
Was that a fake Statue of Liberty end around?
Something like that.
I'd have to see the replay. That was inventive. All right, second down and 13. Play action. It won't go to Calais. Uncorks one into coverage, and they've still got their man. That's Peter LeBlanc for his catch of the night. It's the true freshman moving the sticks.
And we really haven't seen Lewis go with a deep ball since that 51-yard pass to Gerard Jackson in the first. But you got to remember, if you can get mid-level, you can send it down the field 15 yards or so, and that's what Lewis did.
And what a time to open up the playbook to go to the true freshman for the first time tonight. That situation is not where you expect to see a guy making his first catch. First and 10, back to Calais. Inside the 35, bringing up second down and short. Got to think Regis and Mitchell are just a little bit tired, so they'll go to Calais on this drive and then maybe ride the two bigger guys all the way home.
Well, Mitchell and Regis have done really well and been very productive so far in this game. 11 carries, 74 yards, a touchdown for Mitchell. 12 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown for Regis. They're going to try to see if Calais can get a touchdown as well to join the fold.
Lewis into coverage. Brinson on him. That's going to be probably pass interference on Monquavian Brinson. We will have to see. Pass intended for Jalen Williams, the LSU transfer.
Yeah, more than likely that's going to be a pass interference on Brinson. Had a hand on him at one point, let go at the very end, but still.
Man, Monquavian is usually so disciplined out there. That's going to be a rare call if that's on him.
A lot of Georgia Southern fans are happy with the call.
Defense number 4.
Even Chad Lunsford
first down.
is upset with that one.
And that is a big call for Louisiana. All right, well, both of these teams have thrived in the red zone tonight. Louisiana 4 for 4 scoring in the red zone. Georgia Southern 3 for 3. So it's been good to be on the offense tonight. New first down. They got to get down to the 9. That's LeBlanc in motion. They go up the middle to Mitchell. He cuts, and he's going to find the end zone again. Touchdown Cajuns early in the fourth quarter. That's number 2 for Elijah Mitchell.
And number 9 on the season. You saw there last second, the Eagles blitzed the middle linebacker up the middle, and Mitchell bouncing outside toward the tackle. Found an opening. And just like that, Louisiana about to make this a 10-point lead.
And here's Stevie Artigue to do that. And that one is straight through, and it's going to take us to a break here on ESPN Plus. All of a sudden, it's back to a 2-possession game. Time for the Eagle offense to respond. We have had a game tonight here at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro full of hard-earned offense and forced turnovers on defense and aggression. And as we head into the later parts of the fourth quarter, Danny, this game is looking like pretty much what we expected. Yeah, and if you're Georgia Southern here, it's all about how fast they're able to answer back and score, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal. We've seen some long drives from the Eagles throughout this night, but with 12.5 minutes left to go in the fourth, you got to try and get a touchdown in at least 5 or 6. Jesse Liptrot from the goal line, and he's going to take it out. Wrap back at the 10. It's going to be a long drive for Georgia Southern if they want to stay in this game. T.J. Wisham. And on the tackle that time for the Cajuns, wrapping up all the way back at the 10. So a long way to go for Georgia Southern on offense. Shai Wert's first game back since he went down in week 1 at LSU. And Shai's been pretty good on the ground, and they haven't really asked him to throw. He's only thrown once tonight. Well, there's plenty of space outfield for Shai to let the ball loose, so we'll see if he does that here in this drive. First down from their own 10. Shai's going to keep and dump it off to Caleb Hood. That one's just going to fall incomplete. Yeah, if you're Caleb Hood, you got to make that catch. And this has turned into the most pivotal drive of the night so far for Southern. Time for Shai Werts to be called on to go play action and run it 50 yards or something, because that is what we saw him do so much last year. I think Shai Werts may keep it here at 2nd down and 10. He's got the most rushing yards for Georgia Southern tonight with 64. We're going to go up the middle to Logan Wright. He turns that into a first down and more across the 30. If he didn't run into his teammate, it could have been more, because it was a shoestring tackle mixed with Wright running into the back of his teammate. And I know he hasn't had a big 50-yard run or anything tonight, but Logan Wright going between 5 and 10 yards at a time like a bowling ball, that's pretty on brand. That's in character. Well, he's the power back for Georgia Southern. 6 foot, 225 pounds, the redshirt sophomore out of Jacksonville. Yeah, he's a big boy. Inside the 12-minute mark, Eagles down 10 and driving. Low snap, and Werts will keep and be wrapped up back along the line of scrimmage. It was Andre Jones again. He's had a pretty good night getting to the quarterback. I was about to say, he has had a great game, makes his 5th tackle here tonight for Louisiana. He's been able to get to the quarterback such great moments. And there wasn't really any room for Shai to run there. I mean, we tried to bounce out. There were 2 more defenders. And let's do it, flip it to the running back. Picked up a gain of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 8. Pretty busy backfield. They'll run the option, and Werts goes head over heels. That was Boudreau on the tackle, and a flag coming in. Might be a late hit.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 59. The previous plays under further review.
So Jaquez Boudreau going to be called for targeting. They're going to review the play to see if it is. Now, there are new rules this season to targeting, and so we'll see if they have enough evidence to get it on him.
Boudreaux is a really smart player as well. He's a transfer in from Holy Cross.
And he leads his team with 8 tackles, 5 solo tackles tonight, and also a tackle for loss.
Been a pretty key member of this team. It would be a big loss if it ends up being targeting.
Yeah, we talked about for Georgia Southern, the interior linebackers trying to stop the running game. But how about the linebackers for Louisiana? We see this again. I'm not sure if that's going to be targeting. Yes, Shy got tripped up and went up in the air, but
I'm not even sure I see helmet-on-helmet contact.
More so helmet on shoulder pad. Another angle here.
Only slightly helmet-on-helmet, and that was inadvertent.
I don't know if they have enough evidence to get him for targeting.
Yeah, we will see. Certainly wasn't intentional.
No, Shy got tripped up.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. The result of play is second down, number 59 for the man in the game.
That was the right call?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not for Georgia Southern fans, but still the right call made out there.
And they'll make up. That's nice.
So now 2nd and 7, under 11 left to play.
Third down.
Or third down, I should say. And at the 36.
And that clock continues to run down inside 11 minutes. The further along this game goes that Southern is down more than a touchdown, the harder it gets with the offense they run.
They may pass. They have 4 wide receivers out, 3 on the left, 1 on the right.
3rd and 7, Wirtz back to pass. He's 0 for 2 tonight. And Teddy's going to step up and run. And he'll pick up the first down across the 45.
Got a big run from Wirtz. Drops back. Instead to keep himself. And he almost running left. Going east-west instead of north-south before he got that first down.
That is the kind of play, and this is becoming the kind of drive that he orchestrated to so many comebacks last year.
Right. And that's one thing that this offense was missing with Shy being out, the ability to turn nothing into something.
Back to the line of scrimmage, 1st and 10. We'll give it to Logan Wright. Across the 50-yard line, gain of 4 yards, and that'll take us down inside 10.
2nd down at the 50. I try to go for a deep ball here. Try to go for a pass. I mean, we've seen last year multiple times where Darian Anderson has been the go-to receiver.
I was going to say, I being transparent, I have wondered when the big play is that they're going to pull out the play action to Darian Anderson. They do it about once a game. Have not done it yet tonight.
Needs to be now. See what Bob the Best offensive coordinator decides to do here.
Well, Anderson split to the bottom of your screen as the wide receiver. 2nd down and 7. They'll run the option the other way. It's Wirtz. First down for Shy to the 31. And a big collision on the sideline, too. Both teams are calling for a flag. Shy's got a smile on his face. He's got to be happy he's getting up and not hurt again.
We talk about the big play for Georgia Southern. You got to remember, Shy Wirtz can go for about 15, 20 yards. And you see the late push and the collision.
That was Gerard Jackson on the sideline. Well, actually, they call him Bam Jackson, and he kind of gave him a bam as he ran into him.
Yeah. Luckily, no whistle on Louisiana for that potential hit.
9 minutes to go, new first down. They give it to Speedy LaRoche. Doesn't quite get the first down. He's inside the 25, and we've been waiting for a big play out of Matt. We haven't really gotten it yet tonight.
Yeah, he's been the one that hasn't been able to be the most productive for Georgia Southern. Before that carry, he only had 5 carries for 9 yards. A decent game there for 7. We'll see if the Eagles will keep him in to give Logan Wright a break here for the moment.
They've been riding Logan Wright an awful lot tonight. And there's Andre Jones, yet another tackle. He's been a monster. Second down and short. Malik Murray, the motion man. They feed J.D. King. And he's got a first down. I'll tell you, Danny, J.D. kind of had a slower start to the year for Georgia Southern. Big night for him tonight.
And that touchdown and 2-point conversion had to be a big weight lifted off of his shoulders. Now that he finally is able to understand the offense, get a touchdown for his team, especially at home as well, it's got to be a confidence booster for him moving forward.
This has been one heck of a drive for Georgia Southern. Don't forget, they started this drive back on their own 10. They'll run the option, and here's Wirtz. Gang tackle that time. It was Tariq Miller bringing him down alongside Percy Butler.
Great job from Wirtz, able to bounce outside, almost was able to get past two more defenders before getting taken down, but nonetheless a first down. Eagles have been moving here, like you said, started from the 10.
And a flag on the play.
Holding. Offense. Number 71. 10-yard penalty. Spot of the foul. Replay first down.
Was he laughing? I heard someone laugh there on the
I'm not
mic.
sure, but that foul is going to be on Peyton Backer.
I'll tell you, although Georgia Southern has had a couple bad snaps tonight, they've actually been awfully good. We haven't really seen any offensive penalties out of them.
Not at all. We saw a lot in the first couple of games this season, so the Eagles cleaning things up, especially when you have an off week to kind of reflect over the first couple of games of the season. And they'll have another off week, too, because even though you have a short week against South Alabama, you have another off week before you return home against Coastal Carolina in October.
Now they've got to get down to the 10. Wirtz is in the backfield, gets rid of it. Went to the near side for Darian Anderson. No flags. But that'll stop the clock and bring up second down.
So here, Wirtz almost taken down.
Dalvin Hutchinson was almost untouched into the backfield.
Offensive line has to do a better job about stopping the interior 7 or 8 for Louisiana.
Hutchinson, by the way, is a 300-pounder. He can turn you into a pancake. You can't let him get back there.
Not at all.
All right, second down and 19. Got to get down to the 10. J.T. King back into the game, pushing the line forward toward the 20. Gains 8 or 9 on the play, but it's still going to be a critical third down and long here for Georgia Southern.
Well, as we talked about with the series history between these two teams, the home team has yet to get a win yet in this series.
Eagles 5 for 10 tonight on third down. That's much better than their mark entering the game. They were about 17% coming in.
Definitely an improvement here this week.
All right, they're going to go 12 or 13 yards here on third down.
I think Shaw has to throw.
They're going to go to King, feeding the hot hand. He's not going to get quite there. He's down to the 13-yard line. He had to get to the 10. And I think they're going to go to Tyler Bass.
Yeah, you go from the hot hand to the hot foot in Tyler Bass, already with 2 made field goals for Georgia Southern, keeping them close. The third one here puts them within a touchdown. And all you have to do is rely on your defense. If they make a good stop, you can potentially tie it up.
Hot foot, huh?
You said he was the all-time leader for Georgia Southern, kicking 40 yards plus.
He broke that record tonight, yes.
Exactly.
I just didn't know that was an expression, hot foot. Bass. King stays the king. All right, so it's back to a touchdown game, 31-24, 5.5 minutes to go. We're going down to the end here in Paulson. All right, Danny, let's talk about math. If you know Georgia Southern football, it takes them a long time to get down the field because they run the ball so much in the option. So if you're the Southern defense in Chad Lunsford, you need to get a stop here on the first, maybe 1 or 2 series.
Yeah, you got to get it early here. More than likely force a 3 now so you can get the ball back with some decent time left on the clock. And keep in mind, Greg, both teams have all 3 of their timeouts left.
I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
So we'll see if the Eagles can try and make a stop. It's going to be tough because you've seen Elijah Mitchell kind of be the leading rusher for Louisiana so far. Almost 100 yards rushing here tonight.
So yeah, Levi Lewis has been terrific. 166 yards through the air, a touchdown. He's also ran for about 30 yards. He's been mixing RPOs and play action and straight up passes over the middle for 40 apiece. And on the first play of the drive, they'll go to Regas. Their leading rusher is back in the game after a break. Didn't quite get there. He's maybe 1 yard short, bringing up second down.
I mean, honestly, if you're Louisiana, you can't go wrong with whoever you put in the backfield because all three, at least Regas and Mitchell, out of the three, have been very productive here this night.
At what point on this clock, if you're Chad Lunsford, do you start burning the timeouts? The first time you get a stop on first down?
More than likely. I mean, 2nd and 1 here. They can get a stop here.
They'll have to bring the house. And they will. Regas, big first down and a lot of space. 2 Eagles to beat. He's down to the 46. And we are down inside 5 minutes.
I mean, against Ohio, both Mitchell and Regas ran for over 100 yards, so it's gonna be tough. If you're Georgia Southern, you might want to load the box up, show a blitz, do something.
I was going to say it's time to start bringing 9 if you're Southern.
I wouldn't say 9 because there's so much open field, and if you go the wrong way...
That was an exaggeration.
You got to at least send 5 up front.
That's Peter LeBlanc to the top of your screen as the wideout. Split to the near side, Jamarcus Bradley. We haven't seen a ton from him tonight, just 2 catches.
But a crucial touchdown in the third.
Ralston the motion man. This is Regas cutting up field inside the 40. He has no trouble getting into deep territory. He's down into the 15. And this Louisiana offense is going for the nail in the coffin.
Well, Regas went to the right side where you have your 2 preseason All-Sun Belt Conference offensive linemen and Kevin Dotson and Robert Hunt, and they just gave Regas such a big hole to run through. Took advantage of it. And now, Raging Cajuns in the red zone. A touchdown here could potentially put it away.
Both teams tonight 4 for 4 in the red zone. It's Mitchell down inside the 5-yard line, and the Cajuns nearly have this one in hand.
He's looking for another 3-touchdown game.
He had one last week against Ohio,
which gave him Sun Belt Conference Offensive Player of the Week, and I think right here is where we have an injury down on the field. So that will stop the clock, and I believe that's Monquavian Brinson that's down on the knee.
Well, thankfully he's down on a knee and not down on his back. All-conference corner for Georgia Southern. We're going to take a quick break, tell you how he is on the other side. Well, Chad Lunsford trusted his defense when he opted to not go for an onside kick a few minutes ago, and that seems to be a potentially risky situation here with the Cajuns threatening with the nail in the coffin here down inside the 5.
Yeah, and a touchdown here can put it away for Louisiana. And, you know, unlike Georgia Southern, they didn't have an off week. They will have an off week following this game, and they're going to prepare for pretty much what we could say is an early Sun Belt Conference Championship showcase. I mean, definitely a rematch from last year against Appalachian State.
Yeah, App looks awfully good this year, huh?
Yeah, App beat Louisiana both in the regular season and in the conference championship last year. We saw Appalachian State beat UNC a few weeks ago.
So who is this going to be? They're trotting out Mitchell in the backfield to flank Levi Lewis. Mitchell in the backfield already has a pair of touchdowns. He had 3 last week against Ohio. And number 3 against Georgia Southern will have to wait. He was stopped at the 1.
Timeout. Georgia Southern.
And it's time for Southern to start burning those timeouts, Danny. This is go time.
Yeah, gotta go ahead and use them.
Clock to 2 minutes, 37 seconds.
We're going to take a quick break. Finale next. do. Billy Napier and Levi Lewis have drawn up here for second down and goal for the one for the Cajuns. A chance to punch this one in and put it on ice. Chad Lunsford has recently started burning Georgia Southern's timeouts, trying to keep this a touchdown game. And the Cajuns trying to put this away and move to 4-1 on the season.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong with any of the three running backs for Louisiana, only a yard away.
Trey Regis, that's his second touchdown, and the Cajuns are going to put this one on ice in Statesboro. And that's an overwhelming touchdown.
4 touchdowns total from the running core for Louisiana. 2 for Mitchell, now 2 for Regis. Regis also 131 yards rushing here tonight. He may be in contention for Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week.
Certainly might be, and 2 for Regis, 2 for Mitchell. And don't forget that passing touchdown from Levi Lewis as well.
So that marks 22 touchdowns as the kick.
That one sailed.
Went left.
It sailed left, so 37-24 remains the score, but at this point it would take a fast touchdown, an onside kick, and then Southern doing it again. As you can see, some of the students have started to file out since they think this one may be in hand for the Cajuns. But Georgia Southern does not slow down, David. They've got a game in 5 days out in Mobile.
Yeah, short week. They got to regroup before going to South Alabama. Then they'll have another off week, and then they'll return home for 2 home games against Coastal Carolina and former Sun Belt Conference rival in New Mexico State. Then the rest, all Sun Belt games. And for Louisiana, they have an off week and they prepare for a big-time matchup against Appalachian State. You know they have revenge on their minds after losing that conference championship game last season in Boone.
Not only do they play the conference championship against each other, but the way these teams have looked, I think that's probably the odds-on likelihood to see that conference championship again based on how good these teams look.
And am I reading that correctly? They have 4 road games to end the season? If so, that's going to be...
That seems unfairly difficult.
Well, actually, those last 2 games will be at home against Troy and Louisiana Monroe.
I was going to ask. I was like, there's no way.
But still, another game for Louisiana, scoring 30 or more than 35 points.
Low line drive kick. Liptrock's going to let that one go out of the back of the end zone. And we'll see what Georgia Southern can do. They're down 13 with 2.5 minutes to go. So it was great to see Shai Wertz back tonight. We saw some big play capability. I'm not sure there's anything more that he could have done tonight.
Well, you know, a couple of takeaways from Georgia Southern. I mean, what's important is that Shai is healthy, had a solid outing, 20 carries, 99 yards. Will probably cross 100 here, trying to create some opportunities for Georgia Southern. J.D. King finally got things going with a touchdown.
Cajuns bring 4. Shai goes far side to Malik Murray, his first catch of the night. He's inbounds for a gain of 5 as he goes down.
First reception for Georgia Southern here throughout the night.
Yeah, their first completed pass of the night. Shai was 0 for 3 to that point. Second down and 6. And he'll go again over the middle. That one is hauled in and complete by Najee Thompson.
And the Eagles are wasting no time. They're going to try and preserve those final 2 timeouts. They can get a touchdown.
Yeah, Shai has shown again and again in his college career that he's a great passer when you give him the chances. That one's hauled in by Colby Ransom, and here they go.
3 quick passes in a little over 30 seconds.
Shai's padding his stats. Second down and 2. Inside 2 minutes. Goes back to Thompson. First down to midfield.
These are good looks, too. I mean, you're going short pass after short pass. So we'll be surprised if they try to go for the deep ball here.
It would in all likelihood be Darian Anderson, but you just got to look for him. And this is just the unfortunate side effect of scheduling a really tough preseason. You're Georgia Southern, you start the year at LSU. Next game against Maine, they win by 8 points. The week after that, went to Minnesota to play a Big Ten team in the Golden Gophers as Wertz rolls out. He's got Thompson again, gain of 8 yards, and he's in bounds. And then you open the conference season against the Ragin' Cajuns, probably the best team in the Western Division of the Sun Belt Conference. There's always the unfortunate chance you start that year 1-3.
Yeah, and Bob the Best said it earlier when we talked to him before the main game. It was going to be the storm before the calm. A tough first 4 games of the season before you even really understand your team's identity. And we're seeing that throughout these last couple of games, and especially with the fact that Shai Wertz missed that Maine and Minnesota contest and half of LSU.
Right. But these Eagle fans are not going to see their team for a couple more weeks. Coastal Carolina doesn't come in until October. New 1st and 10 inside 90 seconds. Wertz extends the play. Here comes pressure. And fires it out of bounds. Caleb Hood, the only one in the neighborhood. That'll bring him second down.
The ball went beyond the line of scrimmage. Incomplete pass. Second down.
So the question is for Georgia Southern after these first brutally hard 4 games. Bob DeBest said you need those games to find out what your team's identity is. Do they know by now?
I think they'll truly know by the time they either get to South Alabama or after South Alabama, because you have another off week, more time to reflect over the 2 games you had in between breaks that you've had, and then you know what to do here for the final games of the regular season. And that's going to be intentional grounding. Shai had to just throw it away.
Well, there's a linebacker blitz coming from his blind side that was clearly going to get to him.
Yeah, I don't think he was able to find a receiver there. That might send them back.
Holding. Offense. Number 70. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. It'll repeat second down.
So instead, that's going to be holding on the left tackle. Gerard Leeds.
By the way, folks, although we showed you the picture of the stadium a few seconds ago where it looks like some folks have emptied out, peak tonight we have our announced attendance. Came up just shy of the 20,000 mark. They got to 19,220.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah, best in 2 years, probably. Second down and 20, hair over a minute to go. No one open downfield for Wertz, and he's going to extend. Throws on the run toward Mark Mashad. And I don't see any flags. That'll bring up third down and 20. So they didn't quite get to 20,000, but that's still good.
Oh, yeah, it's still really good. And hopefully these Eagle fans stay supportive of Georgia Southern when they return to face Coastal Carolina here in a couple of weeks. They'll have back-to-back games at home against Coastal and New Mexico State.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks in mid-October. Win here would have helped with that attendance, although you got to hope that there is understanding on behalf of Eagle Nation that you just played 4 really good teams to start the year.
There's no need to hit the panic button.
I don't think so.
They've been very competitive in these 4 games as well.
Third down and 20. Here comes a blitz late. Wertz goes down. And that'll pretty much put an end to things here.
Tariq Miller with the sack for Louisiana.
Timeout. Georgia
Southern's going to use their second timeout.
It's their second
Well, maybe it's time for a Shai Wertz Hail Mary, Danny.
Well, 4th and 26. You might as well go for it.
Yeah, why not?
Take another look here. Miller. Nobody had Miller. Logan Wright would have been the guy to make the block, but... And I think
I don't think he actually hit the grass.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, this is just good experience, and as good as Tyler Bass is, this is not exactly in his range. They're on the wrong side of the 50.
But Tyler Bass has been very effective here throughout these first 4 games. Now 10 of 11 in field goal tries this season.
All right, well, for what this is worth, statistically, the numbers are not with them on this play itself because they got to go 26, but this is the first time in 2019 that Southern has gone for it on 4th down. They're playing prevent. And that's going to do it. That's a turnover, and the Cajuns will start to take knees with 45 seconds to go. Well, Danny, we had a feeling that this game was going to be close, and it really was until the final couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, special teams kept Georgia Southern within this game, providing 10 to 24 points. By the end of the night, Louisiana's running game was just remained dominant. 275 yards on the ground, 440 yards total offense for the Raging Cajuns.
And if you look at the way that offense balanced with comparably pretty good defense, if you're the Cajuns and you're going back over the game film and you eliminate those two muffed punts, you have won this game pretty handily.
This would have been a blowout.
Yeah.
Would have been a blowout. And Trey Regis, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns on 16 carries. Elijah Mitchell, 14 carries, 81 yards, a pair of touchdowns as well. Levi Lewis had that crucial 4th and 1 touchdown pass to Jamar Bradley. Overall, just a well-rounded performance for Louisiana, and showing why they were the early favorites to win the Western Division.
I was going to say they played well on pretty much every side of the ball except punt returning, and you have to believe that Billy Napier is going to have that taken care of, making them run a little bit on Monday.
We talked about Napier being very fond of Georgia Southern, with a quarterback at Furman in 2001, 2002, beat Georgia Southern in the FCS semifinals.
And speaking of his history with Georgia Southern, we now hit 3. The home team has never won when the Cajuns and Eagles have gotten together.
Now, once again, the road team gets the victory, 37-24, and now Louisiana gets a chance to rest, recuperate, prepare for the biggest test this season in Appalachian State in 2 weeks.
And Georgia Southern's got to get going. They don't have any time to rest. They play on TV, ESPNU, Thursday night at South Alabama. So Louisiana ends up beating Georgia Southern by 13 points, 37-24. Eagles off to a 1-3 start, and the Cajuns are red hot to start at 4-1. So for Danny Waugh and our entire crew here on ESPN Plus, I'm Greg Talbot saying so long from Statesboro, where the final score is Cajuns 37, Eagles 24. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a proud presentation of ESPN.